What is up, my sweet little fantasy football cherubs? Welcome back into Alarm Fantasy Football. I know the baseball and basketball has been flowing on these channels like wine, like beer. National Beer Day yesterday. Pat, did you get involved or Tuesday?
I celebrated, Coop. I mean, I'm a Wisconsin native, so of course I'm gonna have a beer on National Beer Day.
Of course. What'd you get after? What's the beer choice?
Right now, it is Zombie Dust by Three Floyds in Munster, Indiana. It's a pretty good pale ale. Probably one of my favorite beers in the US right now.
I think one of the biggest tiebreakers when it comes to beers, beer name and beer can art, right? So if you get zombie dust in a cool looking can, dude, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Three Floyds is all about the can and bottle design too, so recommend people checking out that brewery. It's a good one if you're in the Midwest.
We might have to do a little beer swap at the next FSWA or the FSGA or the Expo because out here we got Treehouse, Trillium. Uh, I'm making a stop up at the Alchemist. Actually, I'm driving up to Montreal, so stopping at Alchemist. So
Uh,
might have to do a little swap, put a little something
yeah,
on the
man, you guys do have some good stuff on the East Coast that we don't see out here. I know I've done a little beer exchange with, Brian Drake. He's turned me on to some good stuff on the East Coast, so I would love that, Coop.
All right, let's set it up. Well, I guess I should give him a better introduction. Our guest today, Pat Fitzmaurice, absolute legend, joins me every year this time of year, though Dave Kluge selfishly wanted to do the running backs. So I asked Pat to pivot to wide receivers last year, as the Fantasy Alarm family know and has pointed out in the Discord. Pat crushed it, had a few sleepers. His threw a Kyle Mononga out there, who's a guy we weren't even looking at. Rutgers guy with hard running guy who's looking like he's got a role here, man. So we're gonna ask you to jump in. I know you got to get out early, so for those that have never seen this show on the pre-draft, what we do is this: I pull up a tier maker that I have painstakingly created and put a bunch of players into for each position. Today we are doing wide receivers. What we're gonna do is I'm going to introduce kind of just the basics on the player. Pat will give his take, and then we'll sort them into these tiers, right? S being the top tier, A being guys we think are fantasy relevant, B is kind of like guys we're rooting for, C is guys we don't have a lot of hope for, and then D is just like guys that we truly just like don't think are really going to do much, but are names that you got to know in case maybe they do get drafted early on. The way it works here is that in case we do have a major disagreement on players, we are each allowed one veto. You cannot veto the other person's veto. No triple stamping, a double stamp. Pat, I don't. The last year, did we even need to use the vetoes? I think maybe one might have been used.
Yeah, I if there was one maximum veto, Coop, I
Yeah,
don't think we had to use that too much. We were sort of in agreement on a lot of
yeah.
stuff.
I think it was pretty solid. I think we did pretty well. We'll see about this time around. It's an interesting class. A lot of different player types. A lot of different guys here, and the other rule, one that Howard Bender always wants to disrespect, is that we go in alphabetical order. Bender un- painstakingly to do shows with him because he just wants to jump around and say, let's just throw this guy in this tier now. We will be going in alphabetical order here, starting with Mr. Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver out of Alabama, kind of an all around guy, can play all over the field. Um, I think Combine was a pro for him because he came out, ran a 4.48 at 6'1", 206. Do you feel the same way, Pat, that he helped himself a little bit with Combine?
I think so. Like 4.48 for a 6'1", 206 pound guy is pretty good. And you said it with the describing him as an all-around guy, just sort of a well-rounded skill set, solid route runner, good with the ball in his hands. Ran a lot of jet sweeps at Alabama. I think he had 2 touchdown runs last year. Good blocker, which we don't care about for fantasy, except that it helps keep you on the field in the NFL. So, yeah, the numbers weren't great at Alabama. I guess that's the one knock on him. He topped out at 64 catches, 862 yards, 7 touchdowns. Didn't have more than 2 touchdowns any other season before his final year with the Tide. But It seems like the draft evaluators, the people we respect, Daniel Jeremiah, Todd McShay, some of the bigger names, they've got him as a top 10 receiver. So, I mean, my inclination, Coop, I don't know if there's an S receiver in this class, and Jeremy Bernard certainly isn't in that category.
Right.
I kind of like him it's like maybe a C guy.
Yeah, so here's the thing, and I'm with you on that. That like he seems like he has a very good floor, right? This guy to me feels like he could like coaches are going to love him the way that they love like Van Jefferson, right? He can kind of play every role. He can be the next man up if somebody gets hurt. I'm hoping that he can be more than that, but I don't know. It's kind of tough. His journey was interesting in college. He started at Michigan State, went to Washington where it was very crowded. Then went to Alabama where it was crowded as well. But he was brought there by the coach, right? The Jabbar. So I don't know. I could see him in B.
I'm good with B. Let me ask you a question about this exercise, Coop. Are
We,
we scaling this for the class? Like,
yeah,
there are no
exactly.
true
If we were going to scale it for the class, then we would just start with A and have no S tier, right?
pretty much, right? I mean, well, if we scale it for the class, we can come up with some S tier guys, but if we're keeping the S tier reserved for the Jeremiah
Right.
Smith, Jamar Chase types, there's no S guy in this class.
Right. I mean, what we could do is, let's just say that let's scale it for the class. Let's
Okay.
scale it for the class.
Then
And
let's make Jeremy a B. I'm good
let's
with
put him
that.
in B because this is guys we think are going to be NFL caliber players that should have some fantasy relevance at some point. The way I kind of view him now is like, the journey for Tyler Boyd, where he like got drafted, had a role, good blocker, and then he had a period where they were kind of lacking for wide receivers, so he got to play in a lot of two wide receiver sets with AJ Green. Did have a couple fantasy relevant years, and then once they got T Higgins and Jamar Chase, he went back to being just kind of a slot guy and like the next man up. Like I could see this guy having that kind of a career,
Yeah.
or he could just be like the next, I don't know, like Paris Campbell or somebody where he just keeps getting jobs, but you never see him on Sunday. So I don't know. We'll put him there. Next guy here, big dog here, Denzel. Oh, actually, if we're truly going alphabetical order, it should be the Bells next, right?
Oh, that's right.
My thing kind of jumbled that part. So let's go. Let's do it the right way. Chris Bell, split end, 6'2", 222. Big dog, can beat the jam with some burst, but no athletic testing because he tore his ACL in November, was it?
November.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to hold that fully against them. Jameson Williams obviously tore his ACL, and the Lions traded up for him. But what do you see with this guy out of Louisville?
He has one of the best combinations of size and speed of anyone in this class, 6'2", 222, like well-built guy. Like he looks the part when you see him on the field. Didn't run obviously because of the ACL, but I think he was clocked at 22 miles an hour during a game last season. So people project him for like 4.4. Um, Uses that size to win contested catches, and he's pretty dangerous after the catch. Does kind of look like a running back with the ball in his hands, but maybe more because of his speed than his size. Like he's not really a tackle breaker. And here's the thing with Bell Coop. I know there's a lot of potential. I think he's going to have to be coached up. I specifically tuned into a couple Louisville games last year to get a look at Chris Bell because I knew he was regarded as one of the better wide receiver prospects in this class. I just didn't see it. Maybe it
Mm.
was the games I was watching. I can't remember the opponents in those games, but like not really a factor in those games. I know he's not considered a good or polished route runner. So it's going to take some doing with him, but the physical tools are attractive. Where
Yeah,
do you
so
go?
that's the thing. It's the physical tools, and I think draft capital is going to be huge with this guy.
Yep.
But I'm with you. He's not like draft capital agnostic for me. If a team takes him very early because he can actually beat the jam and play split end, like let's say he goes pick like 33, 34, where Michael Pittman and T Higgins went, then I'll be very much in.
Yep.
This is also the exact kind of guy where if he falls outside of day two, then I'm just completely out.
I agree.
You know?
I agree
So I say we
completely.
put him in there with Jeremy?
Agree.
Before or after? I think because of his physical ability, I want to put him ahead though.
That's cool. I've got Jeremy right now, ranked one spot ahead, but I don't feel strongly about it.
Okay. I'm not going to use that veto.
No, not going to veto that.
Yeah. In fact, I also have it ranked that way. So we should just rank it that way.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, I do have it ranked that way on our site. So we'll leave it that way. We'll fall into lockstep on that one. Again, if a team jumps on him though, then I'll kind of throw out um the concerns. One other thing I gotta mention is that then this is from Matt Harmon. I was like kind of checking out what he was saying. Very unique that like historically guys that only line up on one side of the field in college, and I didn't realize this. If you line up on one side of the field in college, the hit rate is actually a lot lower, oddly. Like these guys aren't viewed as versatile. And Chris Bell fits that, which has Matt Harmon a little bit worried that it's like one of those type guys that like does one specific thing really well. And then when you get to the next level, if you can't be more versatile, you're just, it doesn't translate. So keep that in mind with Chris Bell.
And that would justify putting him behind Bernard, who can move all over the formation.
That's the thing with Bernard is he can do everything. Handoffs, lines up in the slot. Took some backfield snaps, like that, and that's why I feel like he's like such a Van Jefferson. Like Van Jefferson was a coach's kid, and McVay was like, oh well, he can do everything, but he doesn't do anything great. Like Van Jefferson, you love having him on your team because you can only carry like 5 wide receivers, but for fantasy, we don't want that. We want the guy that just is like ripping faces. Next guy here. So you being a Wisconsin guy, Skylar Bell, right? He transferred from Wisconsin to UConn. Didn't do much at Wisconsin, but was productive at UConn. But did you see anything at Wisconsin when he was there that had you excited? Or
yeah, he was good with the ball in his hands, but it was just couldn't really get traction as a receiver there. So I didn't think he was going to be a NFL prospect, quite honestly. But then obviously different story for him once he got to UConn. Good, I think regular senior year or junior, good 4th year at UConn. And then as a 5th year senior last year, he just blew the roof off with 101 catches, 1,278 yards, 13 touchdowns. So probably a slot guy in the NFL. He's only 192 pounds, but could be really good at it. Like he was an alpha in college. He's good after the catch. It's just the fact that he didn't pop until his 4th and 5th years in school at UConn and then did it against lesser competition. I think that's why you have to maybe downgrade him a little bit.
Yeah. And he turns 24 soon.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe top of D.
Yeah, I'm
back a C.
I'd go with C. I will say one thing, Coop. My partner on the Fantasy Pros Dynasty podcast, Scott Bogman, who was consistently drafting Cam Scatterbu last year, well ahead of where all the mocks had him. Like when we did mocks, and then he would get killed in the YouTube comments, and then turned out Scatterbu was pretty good before he got hurt. So when Bogman is really in on a player, like it gets my attention, and he really, really likes Skylar Bell.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll put them in C for now. Again, we can always move these guys as we see fit. So if we're loading too many guys in C, we'll bump them down to the top of D. Look at it. It looks like Obi-Wan lives out in your direction, 5 minutes from the 3 Floyds. You might have to link up on some Scott Fishbowl action. Do you guys do draft out there?
We do have a draft in Chicago. I haven't been to the last one for a couple of years. It's been bad timing, and I've been out of town. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that a long drive for you?
To like northwest Indiana. Not too bad. Can get there in like an hour.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next player here, big boy Denzel Boston. 6'4", 212. Had to wait a little bit behind Rome Odunze. Probably would have broke out earlier if Rome Odunze declared instead of coming back for another year at Washington. But still, this guy, big split end, scored 20 touchdowns over the last couple of years. Where do you live with him, man?
Probably in the A tier, Coop.
Yeah.
I mean, has it a shot at landing in the first round. Seems like it's maybe about 50-50 whether he does. Just this dude does have a little bit of Mike Evans to his game. He uses that size and strength to win hand fights. Um, Good at coming down with contested balls. He has that way that Mike Evans has of just, kind of creating a little bit of space for himself, you know, without quite teetering over the boundary into offensive pass interference, but just giving a little well-timed shove or sort of elbow off to like get.
Dude, you can say it, man. Getting away with pass interference is a incredibly important skill, and a
Yeah,
lot of the greats were great at it. Jerry Rice used to push off. I'll say it. Michael Jordan used to push off. You know what I mean? Like
right.
getting away with it is a skill. Jordy Nelson, and there were guys that didn't really do it. I don't know. Maybe Julio Jones was just believed in the integrity of the game too much, but like he should have done a little more pushing off. Like there's a reason certain guys didn't score touchdowns, whereas like DeAndre Hopkins knows exactly how much he can put his hands on you.
Yes, sir.
So I love that out of wide receivers. That's what you want to see. It's like for every time it gets called, there's 5 times where it doesn't.
Yeah. And like, of course, he's not super fast for a bigger dude, but he moves pretty well for his size. He's not Kelvin Benjamin.
No, yeah. So good. I'm with you on that. I think he's got to go in A. We'll see who else fits in that range. Next here is kind of a divisive player, Zachariah Branch, small guy, 5'9", 177. And again, this is so when we talk about we're not caring about run blocking, this is the range where we do, right? Like because we've seen a lot of guys this size, Andrew Hawkins and Rondell Moore, rest in peace, where they struggled with the run blocking and did not. It kind of kept them off the field. But we have seen some guys at this size carve out a decent role, and this guy is fast. He looks. I mean, he's the exact kind of guy where when you watch the film watchers are going to like this guy. People that just watch highlights are going to like this guy. But the question is whether he can be an every down player. What do you think? I mean, just to say it, Wan'Dale Robinson is an example of a guy about his size who did obviously just get a $70 million contract. So it's not crazy.
Right. That's the path to success, I think, for Zachariah Branch. And he was the naysayers are going to point to the fact that close to 50% of his catches at Georgia were like at or behind the line of scrimmage. So he's kind of a screen merchant. Um, but maybe he could be something else in the NFL. Like it's possible. He is super fast. He can get open. He's dangerous after the catch. But yeah, like this is a kind of there's a stereotype to this kind of player. And usually that kind of stereotype comes with sort of a limited ceiling.
Right. So that he's got to go somewhere in B or C for me.
Yeah, I'm right on the fence with him here, Coop. I'm inclined to start out at C, I think.
Yeah. I just the size, man.
Yeah.
It's just, like it's very difficult as an adult to add a bunch of muscle. Like obviously I was able to do it. But, but it's not easy to go like from 177, it's not you just aren't going to go to 190 and can keep all those traits. So, got to
Right.
feel that way about him.
Right. And we
Next one,
were like talking about the late Rondell Moore, and like Rondell Moore was a really strong dude and a weight room warrior
yes.
and a guy who could kind of bounce off contact a little bit. And I'm not sure Zachariah Branch is the same type of guy.
I mean, it happens even with like the tall, lanky guys. Like it's very hard to shift where your mass is, and you know what I mean. Like and go from being a movable object to an unmovable object. Like it's just for a guy like this, it's just not going to happen. Like there's no way to really do it. I don't think. So I think I worry he's just going to be a part time guy, which there could be a lot of those guys in this class. Next one here, Chris Brazel, field
Oh,
stretcher type guy, definitely 15-yard A dot. If you want to go with high end comps, Alec Pierce, very high A dot guy, 6'4", very fast. So this guy's 6'4" and a 4.37. So like that is like Alec Pierce size and speed. But I think the concern is like Tennessee's a very weird offense. What's the deal with Tennessee's offense that it keeps producing these guys, like Jalen Hyatt type guys?
Yeah, the guys in Josh Heupel's offense just don't really have to run a full route tree. It's just a
Right.
lot of goes and, like, they rarely go over the middle. But apparently so I think Brazel came from Tulane before he was at Tennessee, and I've been told that he ran more of a complete route tree at Tulane. So, like, it's not
Hmm.
he has had some
Hmm.
experience in a more diversified offense. But, I
Okay.
mean, a guy who's 6'4", Coop, with sub 4.4 speed. Now he is thinly built, but that combination of size and speed, I
B
mean
minimum, right?
yeah, yeah, I think so.
Possibly A.
No, I don't think A. I'm
Top of
with
B.
I'm with B. Um,
I
you
mean,
like
that
it more
size.
than
I pulled some comps for that size speed like composition. It's like Alec Pierce, George Pickens, but then you have a couple face plants like DJ Chark in there too.
yeah. I mean, he did this is a dude who led the SEC in receiving yards per game last year, 84.8. Um Not great after the catch despite his speed, but this guy can get downfield and win balls in the air. Um, uh, I have not had the chance to read it yet, Coop, but, Dane Brugler of The Athletic came out with the beast today, his
Beast,
big
yes.
player. He's got Jeremy Bernard ranked 18th among
I
wide
know.
receivers.
I saw that, dude.
I have to read and find out why. I haven't had the chance yet, but
There's
that
a lot of chalk, and I was just looking. I didn't read it yet. If it's, anyone that read it, it came out today. You're insane. But there was a lot of chalk, and then a couple things where I said, and Jeremy Bernard was one. That's interesting.
yeah. So, I'd put him personally behind Bernard because I think Bernard is a little bit safer bet, but I think he and Chris Bell are kind of, in the same category as these, like, boomer bust guys.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: Jeremy Bernard being ranked there is bad news for this class.
Yeah, true,
You
true.
know what I mean? Because he's like the floor guy, and if guys like Dane Brugler are saying like, "Oh man, there's like nothing, so just spend up for the floor guy," that would not be good. It was also his just looking at his rankings, really bad news for quarterbacks outside of Fernando Mendoza, because like you need your guy to go in the first round. Like if you're rooting for Ty Simpson, like the hit rate on second round QBs is so bad. Not to make this a Dane Brugler beast show, but the hit rate on second round QBs is so bad that you just like if Ty Simpson goes at 45 or wherever he has him ranked, then I mean it's a crazy uphill battle.
Right.
There's
I
three
mean,
starting QBs in the league that were picked in the second round, and they are Jalen Hurts,
Hurts.
Geno,
Oh,
and
Geno.
Tyler Shuck.
I forgot about Geno. I was trying
Geno,
to
yeah.
think of the third. Wow.
Yeah, not good. But we got to get back on track here because I know you got to get out early. So we'll put him at the top of B for now. Next guy here, alphabetically, easy for me to say. Alphabetically will be Dion Burks. Dion Burks out of Oklahoma, transferred from Purdue to Oklahoma, limited production. But this is another guy that has crazy, crazy speed. What did he run? He ran a
4.3.
4.3 flat at 5'10", 180. So not particularly big, but I mean just speed. What do you think?
Another Dion Branch type, but maybe a lesser Dion Branch. I mean,
So Super
never
Bowl MVP?
yeah.
Do you mean Zachariah Branch or Dion Branch?
Oh, Dion, geez.
Zachariah Branch.
Zachariah Brent,
I
Dion
was
Branch.
like, Dion Branch, okay. Win the Super Bowl MVP and then
I
overvalued
know
yourself and
Dion
did with
Dion
that.
Burks and Zachariah Branch are so indistinguishable that I just blended them together, subconsciously. Yeah, so
Do that.
never did Dion Burks have more than 629 receiving yards in a single season at Oklahoma. I mean, just like Zachariah Branch, just a really good athlete who can fly, but how big a role can he have at that size in the NFL?
Yeah, that's the thing. These guys, man, and same with running back, I will give it a shot if they have like crazy production. You know what I mean? Crazy production. Somebody picks them on day two, fine. But like, you can't be small and have middling production. So I'm with you. Skylar Bell ahead or behind Burks?
I would have Skylar Bell ahead.
Yeah. All right. Good. Burks might end up getting kicked down to D. I think what we're gonna do is fill C up and then just let guys trickle down into D.
Sure.
Unless you want to just put Kevin Coleman there right away because that's our next player. Missouri, or he played for like 10 schools, right? Jackson State, Louisville, Mississippi State, Missouri. Good production at Mississippi State, but 90% of his routes in the slot. He's also 5'10, 179, and he's also slower than like Jeremy Bernard. Pretty much a pure slot guy. Could we just do this, or
Yeah.
do you have strong take on Coleman?
No, I'm good with that. I mean, he's not a bad player. Like, I've got a lot of buddies who went to Mizzou, so I get roped into watching Mizzou games all the time, and, like, he is a good player, but, yeah, at that size and then being, like, a tick slower than Branch and Burks, like, it's gonna be an uphill struggle for Coleman to stick probably.
So when I was making this yesterday, I had my wife come in and I said, all right, here are 20 people you've never seen before, right? The faces of 20 people you've never seen before. Pick the 3 you think are best at playing wide receiver. She immediately pointed at Carnell Tate. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
And then she pointed at Chris Brazzell, and I was like, yes. And then she pointed at Kevin Coleman, and I said, no.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
But here's the thing. Just keep that in the back of your mind. If this guy comes out and is like a super sneaky breakout,
Man, your wife is prophetic.
her system's great. I mean, her system usually focuses on like hair and who has like a cool nose ring. So I was shocked you picked Kevin Coleman. I was like, what is it? She said he looks like he has a kind face. So,
Okay. All right.
if anyone's looking for that metric next year, that might if all 3 of those guys hit next year, that's going to be one of the metrics. But I wish she had pointed at this guy because this guy is very intriguing here. Casey Concepcion, slot flanker, 6 foot, 196, played a lot of slot at NC State. And then when he transferred to Texas Tech, played out wide. And that made me very happy to see him do that. Also, a lot of gadget specials team stuff. Pat, where do you stand on that? Because I have seen the full gamut of people saying that special teams gadget guys get overdrafted and they're out on them. And then I've seen people say that type of production has positive correlation and that they love to see it.
I generally like to see it.
Okay,
The fact that the team wants to get the ball in your hands, but it can lead you astray. I mean, that was part of one of the things that sort of helped me be pro Keon Coleman was that despite the knocks about his speed, they were having him return punts at Florida State.
right.
And that wound up being a
There,
trap that I fell into.
there's some of those guys where it's like you can see the thought process of the GM being like, oh, we'll take this guy because worst case he returns kicks and punts. No one's ever looked back at those picks and been like, yeah, well, at least he returns kicks. At least Jalen Rager, returns punts.
Tavon Austin.
Andy Isabella. It's like that line of thinking. No one's ever been like, well, at least like that's not how it works. Like, so I'm with you. I do like that. I do like having it in the profile. But I don't like the thought process that leads teams to like overvalue those guys. But I am on team. I want to see it. And this guy had 70 carries for 431. So what do you think with him here? I mean, is he
a lot to like? I mean, there might not be anyone more dangerous after the catch in this draft. Really good at that. He averaged 7.2 yards after the catch per reception in 2025. That's just fantastic.
awesome?
Good at getting open too. We like early college breakouts, and he had 71 catches for 839 yards and 11 touchdowns as a freshman at NC State before he transferred to A&M. So that was good. The only knock here, Coop, are the hands. 7 drops each of the last 2 years. I'm not sure if it's catching technique. I'm not sure if it's I know there's at least one of the big name draft analysts who wonders if he's not a little bit worried about getting hit sometimes.
Yes.
So
just to jump in on that, I looked at them because there's a flavor of drops that do really, really scare me, which is the guys that jump when they're not supposed to and like body catch and stuff. Like Xavier Legette's drops, when you watch them, they're so bad. With this guy, I do think he's more like overthinking about after the catch, and I feel like it's something that's correctable. Like the yips the yips can be fixed. Just, you know what I mean? Like the being scared, thinking about the catch or think about the hit. I feel like that can be fixed better than really terrible technique, which is like that's a scary one for me. So I'm okay with it a little bit.
Yeah, same here. So, I'm on board. I like him a lot. I mean, I remember when Derek Brown, who doesn't watch a lot of college football during the season, but then just dives headfirst into film in January, and I kept asking him, "Have you watched Casey Concepcion? Have you watched Casey Concepcion?"
Mm.
I knew he in particular would fall for that type, and sure enough, he's got him wide receiver 2 right now. But
There you
I
go.
I agree with where you have him on the A tier right in front of Denzel Boston.
Yes. If I was an NFL GM and the big three, which I'm not giving many spoilers here, were gone, I would sit back and ask myself, what do I need for my offense, right? And if I need a big split end, then I'd probably go with Boston. But if I'm a team like the Patriots or the Falcons, like the Falcons have Drake London. They don't need Denzel Boston, right? If they need a slot flanker type guy, this is the kind of guy I'd look at. So I think that because the need for this type of player is going to make him a second round pick at worst,
Yep.
and because of the crazy wide receiver landscape, he could be a first round pick. And I wouldn't bat an eye at it. I think there's, and he's got his flaws and it might not pan out, but I'm feeling pretty good about the way he's looking. So we have gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here, and we're about the halfway point through the show. So we got to go rapid fire here. I just wanted to take 1 second, folks. I'm making myself a big screen here. Folks, if you want to take advantage of this stuff, and like I've been doing a ton of research on this. So has Pat. So has everybody at Fantasy Pros, at Fantasy Alarm. You see Derek Brown head first going crazy. He has Casey Concepcion as his wide receiver too. If you feel that strongly, take advantage of it now. And there's kind of 2 ways to do it, both at the FFPC. Go to myffpc.com. Use promo code ALARM when you set up. They'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more if you've never played before. And what you do is you go in and either pick up an orphan dynasty team where you're going to have picks in the upcoming rookie draft, and you can go and get a team that has picks available. Or my favorite way to do it, the way too early best ball contest, where all those drafts are now and they end on April 24th before the draft. So you're only drafting against people with the same information as you and the same time period as you. And that's where you can really like stamp these guys, right? Like if you look at this and you're like, oh, they're so dumb, Skylar Bell should be in tier A. Well, the best way to do that, my FFPC, go and do either a dynasty draft or a best ball draft and get copies of these guys and access to these guys before everybody else. Because like I love doing a bunch of these now and then saying, okay, well, the draft happened. Jeremy Bernard actually did go in the first round, like Dane Brugler said. I got a bunch of him super cheap over at my FFPC. And again, use promo code ALARM over there when you get set up. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. So quick share from our sponsor of the show. And honestly, my opinion, the best way to jump in and do that kind of stuff. So have you done any best ball contests in the off season, Pat, or did you wait on that kind of stuff?
I normally do a couple by now, but I've not done one yet, Coop.
I've done a few.
Gotta get
I
in there.
said I was going to hold. I said I wasn't going to do them this year. I said I'm not going to do it, and or I said I wasn't going to do them until I had the research done. But I could, dude. You get in these sometimes. Like my wife will be driving, and I'll be like, "How long is this drive?" And she's like, "An hour and 10 minutes." Obviously, I got to do a best ball draft. It's the perfect amount of time. It's a perfect amount. What am I going to do? Just sit in the car and listen to Taylor Swift? Get out of here. So yeah, I've done a couple. All right, next one here. Let's see if we can pick up some steam. Omar Cooper Jr., Indiana, late breakout. Started out wide, but ran more slot in 2025. 4.42. Here's the thing. People say like, oh, he could just be a slot guy, but at 4.42, 6 foot 199, he's got the size to play flanker too, right? Like not that much smaller than JSN.
Yeah. Could be a Z for sure. And Coop, I did go to the University of Wisconsin, but I have some strong family ties to the University of Indiana. Watched a lot of Indiana football this year. Just totally fell in love with Omar Cooper.
Yes.
What a gamer this guy is. Just tough as nails, fearless over the middle, just takes shots and gets back. I mean, he took a helmet to helmet shot in one game. The other kid got ejected for targeting. Cooper, like, they made him come off the play for like one play, came back, and I think he had a reception on his first play back. Like, really tough to bring down when he has the ball in his hands. Good hands, good body control. I mean, watch that play he made to win the Penn State game. One of the most incredible catches I've ever seen. It's just, can he be an alpha receiver? Like, he wasn't at Indiana, and like you said, didn't sort of a late breakout. Um, when I watched him, I liked him and started to think, yeah, this guy's probably going to be a day 2 pick. Now he's getting mocked as like a top 20 pick.
Right.
Uh, like, I don't know if I see that, because if you pick a receiver in the top 20, you better think that he's capable of being your number 1. I don't know if Omar Cooper can be a number 1. So I'm kind of inclined to put him in the A tier.
If he
Um,
gets picked, if he lands with the right spot, like what if the Patriots pick him? You know, where it's like you got Romeo Doubs out wide, you got a bunch of field stretchers, you got tight ends that aren't going to command 120 targets. Like this guy could be the top guy on that
could,
team. You know,
could.
ahead of Boston. I kind of want to keep Boston ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've got him between Concepcion and Boston, but I'm not.
Yeah,
I
you're the
have,
guess. You're the
I
guess.
really have no issues with the way any way you wanted to sort those 3 guys. Like, I would not be able to make a strong case
I'm
against it.
subscribing to more and more. I'm hearing people, not just scouts, but also uh directly from like coaches and GMs that like toughness is something that they look for. Like Liam Cohen was like, there's a lot of things I can coach. I can't coach a guy how to be tough. I can't coach a guy how to get 2 yards when he needs one, like so I do love those type guys because there's a lot of guys that you look at it. I hate to say it, the more I watch like Marvin Harrison Jr. in the NFL, he just needs to toughen up a little bit,
Yeah.
like he needs to want it more, like some of those guys have that. Like, say what you will about Stephon Diggs, like the way he's always played, like he wants the ball more, and like guys like that, man, I love hearing the toughness. So I didn't really have that perspective. I did not know about like the toughness and you
Oh,
know, the helmet to helmet hits. So
he
I'm
gets
gonna
after it, man. He blocks his rear
little
end off too.
blockers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, great. So I'm gonna move them up in my own rankings. Next one here, Malachi Fields, Notre Dame, big split end, 6'5", 218. Played quarterback and corner in high school, then switched to wide receiver. Kind of plateaued though statistically. This is again another divisive type guy because like everybody was expecting him. Oh, like this is the year he's gonna go crazy, and he just 800 yards, kind of stuck around there. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, some people, it seems like the dynasty community is not that excited about Fields, maybe because he had like 4.62 speed. Although at 218 pounds, that's like a 70th percentile speed score.
Right.
Never had more than 5 touchdown catches in a single season, but he is this 6'4" dude who can, like, he can win contested catches, good hands. So even though he was not a prolific scorer in college, could maybe be a double digit touchdown guy at some point in the NFL if things break right for him. But just not really a burner and only 9-inch hands. He did have 6 drops in 2024, I think, although he seems to have cleaned up the drop issues. So I kind of like him. I mean, I'd put him somewhere on the B tier. Anywhere you want to put him on the B tier, I would be okay with it. I think I've got him behind Bernard and Bell.
I'm gonna put him there because he wasn't. I wanted to see him succeed more. That's all. Like I wanted to
Sure.
see a little more dynamic. He could. The thing is, guys like this, he could end up being like a sacrificial X at the next level. That's my
Could be.
concern. Is that like you know these guys they get contracts and they're rich and all, but like Tim Patrick, Nick Westbrook, Akine, that type of guy, it's a valuable NFL player that in fantasy we don't really care about, and I worry about that with him. But I also with that size and the ability to play X, I could see him also a team jumping on him. So we'll put him there. Ted Hurst, this guy's been getting a little bit of hype lately. Field stretcher profile for sure. 30% deep ball targets, 20% of his receptions came on deep balls. Also, Georgia State, where I cannot, off the top of my head, name another wide receiver out of Georgia State that
No.
like at all. Um, but he ran a 4.42 at 6'4". So there's that.
Yeah, and a lot of people see him, and he's, like, almost kind of the small school Carnell Tate as far as making plays on the ball downfield. 34 catches of 20 or more yards the last 2 years, Coop.
Wow.
But he's also dropped 13 balls the last 2 years and
Mm,
played against small school competition. So, yeah, I know, like, he's another guy Derek Brown loves. The size speed combination really enticing. I just I don't know how you have to factor in the competition. A guy playing against, 0
right,
and 1
right. No
stars.
competition, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like he's more of a C tier guy than a B
Oh,
tier.
okay, good. I thought you were gonna put him in D. I want him to be in C, I think,
Okay.
because of the raw ability. And again, I think this is gonna be a player that's gonna be more of a best ball guy. I know that's a cliche, but, like, everything about his profile says that he's going to go to a team and be a field stretcher. Like,
Yeah.
he could go and help other players, right? Like, again, if the Falcons drafted this guy to replace Darnell Mooney, that'd be great for Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and he might have some best ball upside. But like these guys, dude, what does it take for this guy to be a focal point of an offense? It's tough. Put him ahead of Burks.
I'd put him ahead of Burks. I think I've got him right next to Skylar Bell as sort of the small school
Yeah. Yep.
tier.
Speaking of that, while we're doing small school guys, let's hit Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's brother, North Dakota State, same school. Didn't really do much at school. Super late breakout, even at FCS, but just like his brother, physical specimen. 6'3", 204, 4'3", 440. Are you willing to get fooled?
Yeah,
Me
I'm
too.
intrigued for sure. Yeah, plus, yes, small school competition, but over 1,000 yards each of the last 2 years and had 17 touchdown catches in 2024. Neat.
I sorry. When I said late breakout, I should have said late monster breakout.
Yeah, late monster breakout for sure. So, um, but again, the small school competition thing, apparently he needs some refinement, but man, the tools are pretty enticing. So another C tier guy for me, Coop.
I think having him right next to Ted Hurst makes a lot of sense.
I'm down with that.
And this is one where because of the kind of similarities in what they do and the size speed, whatever happens in the draft, I will almost certainly just subscribe to that. Like if a team likes this type of guy and one goes ahead of the other, I'm not going to argue too much, I don't think. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that with the split ends too, with these big, tall, 6'4", 205-pound guys. Like teams are going to have to pick them. And as we saw in the best, I mentioned earlier, T. Higgins and Michael Pittman. T. Higgins and Michael Pittman got picked, and then like 10 teams that could have used a big body split end passed on Denzel Mims. And then somebody took the who is the Steelers wide receiver that got traded to the Bears, the big guy. Now I don't know why I'm
Oh God, I was just
right.
talking about this guy the other day. What's
Just talking about him.
Claypool?
Yes. Then someone took Chase
Chase Claypool.
Claypool, right? And then another bunch of teams passed. And then someone took Denzel, and then the Jets took Denzel Mims. And I was like, man, we can't possibly rank Denzel Mims ahead of these other guys now, just based on the narrative of the draft. But some people were still doing it. That's how I'm gonna feel about a lot of these guys. Like, if everybody's telling us that they don't like that they don't like Malachi Fields, I'm not gonna fight them. Really, I'm not going to fight the scouts on that because like there's a lot of similar profiles here. Let's jump in now. I know we got 10 minutes to rip through one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. A couple of these should be easy though, because they are just going to go right up top. But let's look at let's look at Jacoby Lane, USC early declare, which is kind of rare for this class. Not much production, but also played alongside Makai Lemon. People like the length he brings. How do you feel about Lane?
Yeah, pretty good combination of size and speed. 6'4", 207 and 4.47 speed. Did have 12 touchdown catches in 2024, but I know that there are issues some evaluators have with his separation ability
Mhm.
and the fact that he's just not very physical, even though
Right.
he's a bigger dude. So I think he is kind of a borderline C D guy. I know Brugler has him outside his top 20. Again, I can't wait to
We're
read
doing
up on
this.
what some of the beefs are. Yeah, I'm good with that.
We're putting Burks down.
I'm good with
I
that.
think, one last note from my wife. She, when we were doing that exercise, she said these two must shop at the same store.
Same school?
That's what I said. I was like, well, they were in the same school, but yeah. So that's our notes. That's the only other note actually I got on that topic. So
So we're putting
speaking of
Lane ahead of Burks with the other big dudes.
Lane here, right? Burks down, Lane here.
I'm good with putting Lane on the D tier too.
Okay, I like it. Good, because I think we're probably going to end up with someone else in the C tier, and we wanted to. Not that we force it into being aesthetically pleasing, but like you can't just throw everybody in.
Sure.
Makai Lemon. Let's just do this right, just based on the class.
Got to do it.
Yeah. And you want to give a couple pros and cons. I'll give the con real quick. Is that people are concerned that because of how much he played slot, 70% of his snaps, that he could end up being a slot merchant type slot only guy at the next level. We've seen some slot guys fail, like obviously Kadarius Toney and Keon Treylon Burks, but I think this guy's better than that. So, but that's the concerns. Some positives.
Really good route runner, kind of a technician, super reliable hands, and like this dude is competitive, kind of in that Omar Cooper class where he is just like he does not want to go down when he has the ball in his hands. Has some moves in the open field, but like for a guy who's not that big, he is really hard to tackle. So yeah, the Amon-Ra St. Brown comparisons are not unfair.
Right. I agree. And that's the thing with Lemon. Like this is the kind of guy where if he comes out, let's say I don't get him in my rookie draft, if he has a slot only role, but it's really looks good and it's productive, then I'll be buying him afterwards all over the place because that's literally the path of Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was the path of Jackson Smith and Jigba. It was the path of CeeDee Lamb, of Chris Godwin. Like, don't get discouraged if this guy starts slot only if he looks good. I mean, Luther Burden, similarly, not everybody gets a full role right away. So keep that in mind with Lemon. Like he might not be an every down guy right away, but he's got enough size. He's what is he? 5'11", 192. Yeah, he'll be fine. Next guy here, Eric McAllister. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about this player. Boise State, transferred to TCU. Enlighten me, folks out there. 6'4", 194, 4'6", so another one of those like split end guys that doesn't really have the bulk of a big split end.
Yeah, I have to admit I've not done a lot of homework myself on McAllister. He's
I
not
just pulled your top 20, by the way.
okay. Yeah, did
I
he?
think
Okay.
I think you have him 20.
Yeah, I do have him 20. So yeah, he's kind of a D tier guy. And
We'll
I
put him
think
there
I have
now.
since moved him out and I think replaced him with Josh Cameron.
Okay. So McAllister is a placeholder for Josh Cameron. Can you give us just a quick spiel on Cameron?
Yeah, so Cameron, big physical and strong, 6'2", 220. And I guess just like a monster in the weight room. 121 catches and 19 touchdowns over the last 2 years. So not that fast though. Not that good after the catch, just sort of I don't know, maybe like a poor man's Denzel Boston type.
Okay, perfect. Next guy here, we got 5 minutes to get through four very I don't know. Alphabetically, it got set up here where we have very little time to cover probably four of the most interesting players. So Elijah Surratt, he was the split end to the slot Omar Cooper at Indiana. Productive boundary guy. Obviously had a very good player with him, so give him a little bump for teammate score. And then his pro day, 4.45. I was actually a little surprised. I thought he was slow. He is not slow. He's fast enough, huh? Right?
Yeah, like not a great separator, but they did give him the nickname Waffle House for being open 24/7, and like pretty good at making contested catches. It just kind of profiles as a solid NFL possession receiver. So I think the floor is really safe, and I know there are a lot of there's a consensus on who the top 6 guys are. Not a lot of consensus on who's number 7. He's my 7.
Okay, so you're putting him ahead of top of tier
Brazel on the
B?
B, yes.
Okay. I can do that. I like that. I'm nervous for Brazel. Brazel is I'm worried he's gonna be like just a fear.
Boomer
He's
bust for
just gonna be
sure.
like and even when I like the people are like, oh yeah, he could be the next Mike Williams or Quentin Johnston. I'm like, okay,
Right.
cool. Like Mike Williams had that 1 year where he put it together, and besides that, I don't know if I really like that. You know, and
Yeah.
I fell for DJ Chark and all those guys, so I'll probably fall for him again. Uh, Carnell Tate, very probably the most well-rounded, easily the most well-rounded wide receiver, right? Like souped up Jeremy Bernard, can play all the roles, played a lot out wide, but can play in the slot. Much debate about his 40 time. I do not care. 4.53 is within the range of acceptable wide receivers. And for me, that metric is literally just a stamp. Is it within the range of acceptable for this type of player? Okay, stamp approved, fine
Yep.
for me. So I'm cool with it. Tate 1, Lemon 1.
I've got Tate 1.
Me too. Very safe player. I mean, again, there is an upside case to be made for about 6 guys, like you said, over Tate. I just think he's just ready.
It's funny that the number 1 receiver in a lot of people's boards in this rookie class was not the number 1 receiver on his own college football team last year,
Right.
but, still a lot to like. The guy's just really good at playing the ball, tracking the ball, winning contested catches, and, yeah, he had a 77% catch rate even though his average depth of target was over 12 yards and had no
Right.
drops last year and got coached up by Brian Hartline, who turns, almost everyone into a star.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, like a guy like this, the concern. So, like to your point, we've had a lot of situations where 2 players were on the same team and they were in the NFL and they were both very good, and one better in a vacuum, but the other guy had the better role for fantasy.
Yes.
So, like Chris Godwin outscoring Mike Evans. You know,
Yeah,
is Chris Godwin a better wide receiver than Mike Evans? Doesn't matter because the roles are decided.
right.
Uh, there was a year Emmanuel Sanders outscored Demaryius Thomas on the Broncos, right? Who is the better wide receiver? Probably Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace. So with Tate, we got to keep an eye on landing spot. If he goes to the Giants or he goes to the Saints and he's the split end so that, uh, you know, uh, Chris Olave can play slot flanker, or Malik Willis can do that. I mean, Malik Neighbors can do that. Then could hurt his upside, but I think this guy, no matter what, is probably going to have an every down role. So he's my guy there. This is another one, big debate. Some people have Jordan Tyson as high as 1. Uh, the Jordan Tyson versus Mekhi Lemon debate has been ongoing. I am still up in the air. I could go either way. Injuries hampered this guy. We didn't get any metrics from him because he was injured recently, missed his sophomore season. But boy, does this guy look good. So let me ask you, Tyson versus Lemon.
I've got Tyson 3 right behind Lemon.
Me too.
The durability issues is
Yep.
why he's widely regarded as the 3. Like, had that unholy trinity of knee injuries where you tear the ACL, MCL, and PCL. That was back in 2022, so that's good that it's pretty, you know, getting further away in the rear view, but broke his collarbone in 2024, missed spring practice in 2025 with an ankle injury, missed some games last fall with a hamstring issue. But yeah, I mean, good size. He probably does have the best alpha receiver profile of any of the top 3.
Right. I know. That's the thing, is that if he gets drafted first to the right spot, I will rank him first.
Yep.
I will. I'm not too arrogant to like ignore the history of draft capital and the profile for this player. Like I am right now, I'm profiling these guys, putting them into tiers like we are, and there we go. Last guy here, I know you got to get out of here. Antonio Williams, productive at Clemson, but Clemson is one of those, like, they just chuck the ball around. So you got to take the numbers with a grain of salt. Good route tree. Didn't really have monster seasons. 4.41 at 6'187" though, pretty good. Where do you live on Antonio Williams? He's been getting some steam lately, I've seen.
For me, Coop, he is a B tier guy. Like 75 catches, 904 yards, 11 touchdowns as a junior. Kind of slipped as a senior, but he did miss some time with a hamstring injury. Very good after the catch and just fearless over the middle. and had 13 rushing attempts last year. Also returned punts for Clemson. A guy they wanted to get the ball to, and played some quarterback in high school. Not that big, probably slot only in the NFL, but I think he could be a pretty good slot guy.
So got to go here then, probably, right? If slot only.
Yeah, I'm good with that. End of the
All
B
right.
tier looks good to me.
Well, there it is, folks. There's our tiers for the wide receiver position. I don't know why I didn't make it. Well, actually, because I had to have the names at the bottom. Why don't you go ahead, take a screenshot right now? Smile big, Fitz. There you go. All right, now I'm going to take that down. Fitz, tell everybody where they can find you, even if the very next show you got coming on very next.
Coop, thank you so much for having me, man. You're one of my favorite guys in the space, and always love catching up with you. So yeah, people can find me at fantasypros.com. Check out the Fantasy Pros Dynasty podcast and find me on Twitter at Fitz_FF.
Awesome, man. I know you got to jump, so I will just say this. Hit like and subscribe on this channel. More content coming soon, including we're back up and running every Wednesday, 1 o'clock from now through the NFL season and through it. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Fitz, thank you for swinging by and being the guest today. We are out of here.
Adios, turd nuggets.